right, here we go. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr., and no matter where you are, how you're tuned in, we appreciate all of you for making today's show a part of your day. And on the docket, some major Eagles news and rumors with OTAs underway from the Novacare Complex in South Philadelphia. It's a beautiful sight to see the Eagles on the practice field today. And we're going to go through the most burning questions, the biggest positional battles, and the biggest buzz around this team with OTAs in session. And question number one, who is the Philadelphia Eagles right guard? Tyler Steen figures to get the first crack at earning the starting role, but there are a couple of other players who could be in the mix for the starting right guard spot, flanking to Lane Johnson's left and to Cam Jurgens' right, and that includes Matt Hennessy as well as Trevor Keegan. And Philadelphia, in the post-Jason Kelce era, one of the greatest players in the history of this franchise, one of the best centers in the history of the National Football League, who embodied what it's like to be a Philadelphia Eagle. The Birds will miss his all-pro level play, as well as his personality and him being a team captain. But still, the Eagles offensive line has the makings of being one of the best in the National Football League. Jordan Mailata, the number 3 highest graded offensive tackle in the NFL last year. He was rewarded with a contract extension. So too is Landon Dickerson, who's one of the most physical and best left guards in the NFL. He's now the highest paid guard in the history of football. Cam Jurgens has big shoes to fill, but as we saw with how he had to play center in the preseason 2 years ago as a rookie, as the backup to Jason Kelce, he has the mobility, the athleticism, and the movement skills to get out in space on those pull blocks and be a good center in this league. And of course, the big question, who's going to be the right guard? The Birds drafted Tyler Steen in the 3rd round out of Alabama in the 2023 NFL draft. He primarily played left tackle at Alabama and Vanderbilt in his college career, but look, Jeff Stoutland is the best offensive line coach in the NFL, and if he's high on Tyler Steen, I am as well, and then Lane Johnson still continues to be the best right tackle in the game. As for Matt Hennessy here, he went to Temple University. He was a high-round pick by the Atlanta Falcons. He was an Ivy League recruit coming out of high school, so he's got the brains. He has positional versatility. He can play center. He can play guard. Trevor Keegan, who started at Michigan last year, only primarily played left guard at the college level. So can he switch and play right guard? The job at that position is Tyler Steen's to lose. Question number 2, where will Cooper DeJean line up? Now, Eagles OTAs officially started on Monday. They had an off day on Tuesday. Today, Wednesday, is the first time that the media is on hand, on the sideline at the Novacare Complex. And right now, we just learned that Cooper DeJean is lining up with Quinyon Mitchell as a cornerback on the 2nd string defense. Quinyon Mitchell is on the outside, and as I predicted, Cooper DeJean is lining up at nickel. Now, he played outside corner at Iowa, didn't play a lot in the slot. The Eagles listed him strictly as a corner when they drafted him. Howie Roseman talked about him as a corner when they drafted him, not as a safety. And what's interesting is that, look, we're in the early going of the offseason. Practice is just getting underway. We're talking about a rookie who's trying to master the defensive scheme right now. But I think at some point, once he gets his feet wet, Vic Fangio is going to be able to use Cooper DeJean as a chess piece. Because at Iowa, he lined up a little bit of everywhere. Now, primarily outside corner, 630 snaps there, but lined up along the defensive line in the box for 28 snaps. He was only in the slot for 23 snaps. So right now, he's starting off as a nickel corner for the 2nd string defense. That's what we learned today on the first day that the media was able to see OTA practices. In the box, in addition to the defensive line, 23 snaps. He only played deep once. So 1 snap at safety for Cooper DeJean last year at Iowa. Question number 3, who takes wide receiver 3? We also learned something today from Eagles OTAs. Devontae Parker retired, surprisingly, on Monday night. Parris Campbell should get the first crack. Will Ainias Smith and Johnny Wilson mix in to get those wide receiver 3 opportunities? Ainias Smith missed rookie minicamp with a stress fracture in his foot. Johnny Wilson is tall, tallest wide receiver in the NFL actually, at 6'6", but sometimes he plays a little bit smaller, not a refined route runner. He's more of a developmental piece. And right now, Parris Campbell is getting the first crack at wide receiver 3 alongside A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Jalen Hurts in 7-on-7s, by the way, slinging the rock to A.J. Brown. Very accurate to start practice. The issue with Parris Campbell is not his speed, ladies and gentlemen. He clocked a 4.3 40-yard dash in the pre-draft process. The issue coming out of Ohio State and since entering the NFL has been staying healthy. He was a second-round pick because he was a burner, had good production with the Buckeyes, but games by year, a massive problem. Rookie year, only 7 games with 3 starts. 2020, 2 games, 2 starts, cut short because of injury. 2021, 6 games with 3 starts. 2022, he had a pretty good year, and we'll look at those numbers here in a moment. 17 games with 16 starts. And in 2023, 12 games with 3 starts. He was a healthy scratch at the end of the year for the New York Giants. Going back to that 2022 season, this is what Parris Campbell is capable of. And if the Eagles get this production from their wide receiver 3, it's so much better than what they got from Quez Watkins. And Campbell has the speed of Watkins. And if you pair this with the production that you imagine you'll get from A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, it just makes this offense much more well-rounded. Parris Campbell, 91 targets, 63 catches, 623 yards, only 9.9 yards per catch. That number a little bit lower from a player who has that vertical speed, and he had 3 touchdowns. Those numbers coming again. His only full season in the National Football League back in 2022. Now, we are live right now on Eagles Now. A lot of you are watching this video after the fact. We have almost 400 people watching our live show as we go through all of the latest storylines from OTAs reporting live on what's happening on the practice field. This is why you subscribe to the channel. No other Eagles content creator is live right now doing what we do, and I don't think anybody on YouTube does what we do. There are so many talented content creators out there, but I believe our coverage is informative, insightful, entertaining, and it involves you. And as you can see, that's a big reason why we're the largest Eagles channel out there on YouTube, 196 people away from 75,000 subscribers. Also, Cooper DeJean, I'm excited about him. I'm looking at our live poll. A lot of people excited to hear about him during Eagles OTAs. You can get your Cooper DeJean shirts at chatsports.com/DeJean. They are available in Kelly Green as well as black. We're going to put that link down below in the show notes, attached to the pinned comment, and in the description of this video. Let's move forward here. Question number 4, what does the linebacker position look like? And we also have some takeaways from practice today as far as what the linebacker position looks like. Devin White and Nakobe Dean are the projected starters, but Dean is coming off separate foot injuries. Does Zach Baun get reps? I put that question together before the Eagles took the practice field. The answer to that question is yes, because Zach Baun and Devin White are the starting off-ball inside linebackers for Philadelphia for this first public practice. Now, you look at the Eagles linebacker depth chart, I think that when Nakobe Dean does come back, he's going to get the opportunity to start alongside Devin White. But Vic Fangio, of note, in his first press conference as the Eagles defensive coordinator, did reveal that he believes Zach Baun can play off-ball linebacker because with the New Orleans Saints, he did not do a lot of that. He was primarily an outside linebacker who blitzed the quarterback, but Fangio likes his coverage skills. It's going to be a good training camp battle here for Philadelphia. Question number 5, a sneaky quarterback 2 battle I think could take place in training camp. Now, this first public practice, it's Kenny Pickett, who's the backup to Jalen Hurts. That's what we expected, and Tanner McKee being that third stringer. Kenny Pickett also off to a pretty good start, threw a 20-yard dart down the field to tight end Albert Okwuegbunam. And with what the Eagles gave up for Pickett, they clearly believe in the player who grew up in Jersey as an Eagles fan, originally committed to play at Temple University under Matt Rule before he switched to go to the Pitt, put up great numbers there, has started a lot of games with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Those numbers, Jekyll and Hyde, up and down, inconsistent, but I don't believe that he was surrounded with a good complementary cast of players, most importantly, his offensive coordinator for much of his tenure with the Steelers, Matt Canada, who should not be an offensive coordinator in this league. Matt Canada, Kellen Moore, as far as results, creativity, and elevating quarterback play. And I'm excited to see Tanner McKee. To have a quality third stringer like him, that's a good thing to have because he was impressive in the preseason last year out of Stanford as a rookie. Question number 6. How will Vic Fangio and Kellen Moore impact things? There are going to be schematic changes and alterations and differences, and I think all of those will be very notable. The one thing that I continue to go back to and why I think the Eagles are going to be drastically improved on both sides of the ball in 2024 as compared to 2023 is the experience of Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio. Kellen Moore consistently has had a top 5 offense when he's been in OC with Dallas, and then last year wasn't great with the Chargers, but they suffered a bunch of injuries. He's been a play caller in this league for a really, really long time, and his offenses have been top 5, highly productive, run, pass, scoring a lot of points. And then Vic Fangio, you see the markings and the fingerprints of his defensive scheme littered across the entire NFL. And when Brian Johnson was the OC, he had no play calling experience. Kellen Moore has a lot. When Sean Desai was the DC last year, he had 1 year of play calling experience. Vic Fangio has a lot. And I think that seasoning is really going to help Philadelphia be a better football team. Question number 7. How will the new players look for Philadelphia? Because as we know, and as is the case all the time, Howie Roseman, very busy in free agency, very busy in the NFL draft. To give you a refresher, the notable offseason additions for the Birds: running back Saquon Barkley, edge rusher Bryce Huff, safety C.J. Gardner-Johnson, draftees Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, Devin White, the linebacker in free agency, Mekhi Becton as a backup swing tackle with the player who has so much natural physical ability, and then Kenny Pickett, QB2, behind Jalen Hurts. These notable offseason additions, I'm excited to see what they're going to be able to do. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Reed Blankenship, the starting safeties in practice on Wednesday. And then Saquon Barkley. It's so funny to see Eagles reporters react to the physicality that he has because they said he's the biggest, most physically imposing running back the Eagles have had in a really, really long time. I get it. Miles Sanders, fellow Penn Stater, productive player. When you talk about physical stature, he's not close to the thigh god that Saquon Barkley is and the quad god that Saquon Barkley is. Next up, question number 8. What do the injury recoveries look like for Philadelphia? We're going to take a look at the Philadelphia Eagles injury report here. A big reason why Nakobe Dean is not the starting off-ball linebacker. He's coming off 2 separate foot injuries. A reason why Sidney Brown is not practicing and is not partaking in drills at the safety spot. He's coming off that torn ACL in January. So Brown with the ACL, Nakobe Dean with the separate foot injuries. Ainias Smith did not partake in rookie minicamp because of a stress fracture in his foot. And then you have backup cornerback Zach McPherson, who's really going to be battling to make this roster, maybe as a special teamer. But the Eagles have really grown their depth at that cornerback spot. He suffered a torn Achilles in the preseason back in August. And then question number 9. Who shows up? Right now, we know a couple of players who have not shown up. That includes James Bradbury, not a good look. Keely Ringo, not a good look. You're competing for a roster spot and for some snaps at that cornerback spot. I get it. It's voluntary practices, but I would feel guilty if Chat Sports held a voluntary practice session, and as one of the faces of this company, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to sit at the crib. I'm not going to go. That's just not how I go about things. Now, for a player like Lane Johnson, Devontae Smith, they're not there. That's okay. Josh Sweat, also not there either. But it's always a good look to be present. That's my take on that. Question number 10, which unknown pops? There is bound to be a player at Eagles OTAs who's under the radar, who comes out of nowhere to steal the show and impress. And as I go through some more of the recent notes here from Eagles OTAs, Avonte Maddox taking some third-team safety reps, in addition to being the first-team nickel corner. Parris Campbell with the good contested catch. He's been impressive on this Wednesday. Britton Covey and Cooper DeJean are fielding punts. Ainias Smith standing with them, but not participating. So that goes to show he's probably still recovering from that stress fracture in his foot. Saquon Barkley in the 26 midnight green looks incredible. Saquon Barkley, a big part of the passing game so far. Jalen Hurts looking quicker than he did last year. There was a conspiracy theory that he was banged up. He's looking really healthy. And let's see. Jake Elliott, CJ Uzomah also not there. And those are the takeaways from Eagles OTAs. It's great to talk about some actual football. If you enjoyed today's show, let's do a real one roll call. Type real one down below in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe. And as always, we're so grateful for all of your support.